Hey guys, Coach James here with Vital Metabolic in my studio, Locomotion Athletics here in San Diego, California. Today, I'm gonna go over 3 of my favorite lunge variations, okay? And they're gonna start from a level 1 to a level 3 on a continuum, right? So we're gonna talk about beginner, intermediate, and advanced, right? Now, there are many ways you can make lunges harder and easier, but we wanna start people off, if you're a newbie in training, with the appropriate movement pattern, right? So single leg training is very important. Why? Well, we're bipedal creatures. We walk one leg at a time, and it's important that we have adequate strength on both sides. Many of us have asymmetrical deficiencies. It's very common, so it's very important that we get that single leg training in our programs, right? So we're gonna start with my first lunge variation. It's technically called a squat, but it's still a single leg movement, is the split squat, okay? So what it's gonna be is, we're not gonna have any type of dynamic movement in this position, which is why it's great for beginners, okay? This is great for beginners because we're not loading dynamic movement, right? We're staying in one spot. So if I were to have a new client who might have some balance issues, might have some injuries, just starting off, I'm gonna have them into this split squat. So we start into this position here, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Okay, this heel is elevated. We drop down, okay? Knee doesn't have to touch the floor. We wanna get some depth. And then we come back up, okay, in this position right here. You're gonna have a little bit of a forward lean, right? So we don't wanna be too extended throughout the back. Kind of keep that nice braced abs right here. Okay, down and up. Now, I'm using a dowel, right, just to kind of show you this position. But for most people, okay, you can either put your hands on your hips, okay, like this. Okay, you can have dumbbells, right? We can even go into a front rack position with some kettlebells, single kettlebell, double kettlebells here, gobble position with the dumbbell, or even a barbell, or even a safety squat bar. Guys, this is a very versatile exercise. So that's gonna be number 1, right? Okay, so just reiterating, that is a split squat. We get nice and engaged in this position. We're gonna drop down. I really prefer a 3-second eccentric descent, right? So focus on keeping that knee in alignment, up and down, just like that, working the quads, hands and glutes. Fantastic, right? Okay, so that's number 1, guys, the split squat. Number 2 of my favorite lunge variations is the front foot elevated reverse lunge. Okay, so now we're gonna start loading dynamic movement, okay? Loading dynamic movement. So it's very important, guys, if you're a new trainee, okay, you haven't exercised in a long time, you have some ouchies or boo-boos down here, right? Ankles, knees, stuff like that, balance issues. Do not load dynamic movement until we have strengthened, okay, in place. Does that make sense, right? So we don't want to load dynamic movement when we have a bunch of strength deficiencies, right? So we want to get strong first in that position. But moving on to number 2, okay, that reverse front foot elevated, right? So I want a little bit of a box here. I'm going to step back, almost coming down, big stretch, okay, with that extended range of motion, up, squeeze. Okay, I'm gonna do it on this side. You're gonna come down, slight forward lean, up, boom, just like that. Now, reason why I like this movement, feels very good on the knees. It's almost like a reverse squat, right? So I'm really trying to keep everything in place. If I want to, I can really load this movement. Okay, so if I want to go heavier, okay, less reps, I want to go high rep, that's good too. And it feels super nice, and you're gonna really get into that deep kind of glute activation at the bottom, right? So that's that front foot elevated reverse lunge, okay? That's number 2, okay? Now, we're gonna go up to a more expert I should say, a more advanced exercise, and that's the walking lunge. Now, some of you are gonna be like, Coach James, I do walking lunges all the time. Well, should you be doing walking lunges? Because guess what? Walking lunges, guys, is an advanced movement, especially with external load. Now, why is that? Well, when we're stepping, we have to work on deceleration. If I have weight and I don't have adequate strength, that shearing force on that front knee can cause a lot of issues for us. Okay, so we want to make sure, again, we're covering our bases first before we externally load this forward moving dynamic movement, right? So, one of my favorite ones is staying on one leg. So essentially, right, a normal walking lunge would be like this, right? What we're gonna do is stay on one side. Okay, up, step, up, more control, right? Really not getting a lot of that pressure on the knees, and I'm really working quadriceps here. You know, hit about 10 reps, and go to the other side. Okay, just like that, right? So, guys, remember, all exercises have a continuum, or say most exercises have a continuum. We want to start with the basic level, split squat, reverse lunge, okay? You don't even have to go foot elevated. Foot elevated is another variation of that, but reverse lunge, walking lunge, okay guys? 3 of my favorite variations. Hope you enjoy.